Hey guys, it's Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana. After a couple of weeks off, I'm back at you with another Explore the Card episode number 35 with one of my absolute favorite mid to low end Jordan inserts. It's the 1995 Stadium Club Warp Speed, which you see on your screen. Super excited about this one. This is a card that's near and dear to my heart. At one point, I stacked a bunch of these cards in PSA 8, PSA 9, and PSA 10. I have since kind of narrowed that down as I sold a lot of them at or near the peak, or one of the peaks in most recent years. But this is the card we're talking about today from 1995 Stadium Club. It is a card number WS1 in a 12-card insert set. So without any delay, let's get cranking. The first thing I always like to do is show you guys what I own so you have some sense of transparency and you understand the perspective I'm coming from. I own two of these Warp Speed cards. One of them is a monster. It's one of the very few PSA 10s out there. I don't know how else to say this. I just think this is an absolutely incredible, beautiful card. So I own that PSA 10, and then I also own a little baby. I don't know how this one slipped through the cracks, but I still have this PSA 8 left in my collection. If any of you watching the video or who follow me on Instagram are interested in this PSA 8 copy of the Warp Speed, I didn't even run comps on it, but it's absolutely available for sale at a reasonable price. If you want to reach out to me with an Instagram direct message or a comment in the YouTube video on how I can get in touch with you, that's probably the best way to do it. So 8's for sale. The 10 I am not looking to sell. So as always, let's start by looking at the 1995 Stadium Club base set. It's a 361 card checklist. There's a series 1, which is 1 through 160, I think. And then there is a series 1 through 180, and then series 2 is 181 through number 361. Card number 361 was added late in the production run and doesn't appear on the checklist card. And I think it's actually card number 361, I think is Magic Johnson, if I'm not mistaken, but that's neither here nor there. The rookies in 1995, basically it's the rookie in 1995 was Kevin Garnett, KG, the big ticket, first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the top 5 power forwards that ever lived. Some other notable rookies that I would have lost a hell of a lot of money on, and I think some of you would agree if we had invested in these guys. Their cards are worth almost nothing, but all of these guys met the eye test. A lot of these guys averaged 20 plus in the league. A lot of these guys were the next great NBA superstar. Michael Finley, who I had the pleasure of playing some 3-on-3 pickup basketball against in Houston, Texas. Jerry Stackhouse, who was the next Jordan before Vince Carter was the next Jordan, before Kobe was the next Jordan. So Jerry Stackhouse from Jordan's alma mater. Rasheed Wallace, also from Jordan's alma mater. And then Antonio McDyess. And so those 4 guys were probably the next 4 best rookies from this 1995 class. And let this be a word of warning to all of you ultra modern prospectors and investor types, including myself, that even if you're a fantastic NBA All-Star who averages 20 plus for multiple years in the NBA and is a borderline franchise player for your team, which all 4 of those guys were borderline franchise cornerstones at some point, your cards might still be worthless. So don't think that this is a situation where all cards go up over time. They don't. I assure you, in 1995, Michael Finley, Stackhouse, Rasheed, and McDyess' cards were worth a lot more than they're worth today. What is that, 27 years later? So just a word of warning, just because you get... the player actually has a great career, he needs to almost ascend to a totally different echelon. Anyway, Jordan is card number 1 in the base set. Here's a picture of the Jordan card. Really good looking card, really colorful back of the card, really colorful front of the card. Just a really good looking base card. Great action pose of Jordan there, yamming it with 2 hands. Like he liked to do with a little double pump. We got 2 pictures of Jordan on the back of the card with his stats from the 1994 season. I hated these stats on the back where they gave you aggregate numbers. Like, that doesn't mean anything to me. I know he only played 17 games that year, but like, give me the points per game, steals per game, rebounds per game. Like, aggregate numbers don't help. Stadium Club, Panini, Fanatics, just remember that. Nobody wants aggregate stats. Not that they're putting stats on the back of cards nowadays anyway, but Jordan's card number 1. This card that you're looking at in PSA 10, last sold for around 150 to 160. It's not a rare card. It's a pop 264 card of 1,989 that have been graded. That's a 13.2% gem rate for those of you out there that are gambling or sending cards into PSA. So, you can pick these raw copies up pretty cheap. If you've got a good eye for it, you can pick them up cheap, pay your $18, or of course that July $18 bulk or value submission discount for the month of July. The national special is over, so I guess now it's back to maybe $30. I'm not really sure. But if there's another one that comes along that's $15 or $18, it might be worth a few cracks at it if you see some really clean raw copies, if you think you can get a 10. But remember, 13.2% gem rate means about right at 1 in every 8 will grade a PSA 10 if you have a very good eye for it. There's an insane number of insert sets from 1995 Stadium Club, so let's take a look at them. Here they are listed in front of you. I'm on Trading Card Database as always, so there's a list of all of the insert sets right here. Some of the ones that stand out, I'll just give you the ones that feature Michael Jordan. Those are usually the ones that stand out amongst all others. So Beam Team, and this is the not the original 92 Beam Team. This Beam Team is actually really, really beautiful card. So Beam Team is one of the inserts. Nemesis, not Nemesis, Nemesis, plurals, sticks out, and that features one card and then his, Nemesis, which is singular. Your antagonist, protagonist, whatever you want to call it, opponent, adversary, arch rival. The Jordan card in that Nemesis insert set features Jordan and Joe Dumars. So some really cool cards in there with some great matchups amongst players in the same position from the 1990s. Rain Men is in here. Spike Says is one that features Jordan that I didn't even know about it until I looked in it, and it's inserted 1 in 24 Series 2 hobby packs. So it's not as common as you would think. And then, of course, Warp Speed, which is what we're talking about today. So members only is really the only parallel out there, but there is a parallel for like 10 different sets, including all the base cards. So members only is all over the place. Members only is usually a little bit lower pop, a little bit more valuable. And, I think these came when you purchased the factory set from Stadium Club directly. Warp Speed is very interesting. If we pull up Warp Speed here, I want to show you this because everybody's familiar with the Jordan card that we looked at. There it is, right? Beautiful, gorgeous Jordan card. But what I wanted to show you guys is, sorry, I lost it. There we go. When you pull up Warp Speed, you'll notice, look at cards 1 through 6, right? All of those cards look the same. Like here's card number 6. It looks like the Jordan card, right? But watch this. There's the Mookie Blaylock. There's the Penny Hardaway. These all look the same. Good looking, great looking cards. But what I want to show you is card number 7 through 12. Watch this. There it is, right? So these came out in Series 2, so they all look different. So the first 6 look different from the second 6. So Pippen, Kidd, young Grant Hill wearing some super ugly shoes. Nick Van Exel wearing some Reeboks. Kenny Anderson wearing Reeboks. What's going on with the Reeboks? And then Latrell Sprewell, the coach choker. The second 6 look a lot different than the first 6. Of the 6 to 12 players pictured, there's not really any true imposters. Van Exel and Blaylock are probably the weakest of the players, but both those players were really fun. They could really handle a rock. Blaylock was a defensive menace, and all of those guys sniffed all-star games, and they were just really good players, but they're probably the weakest of the 12 featured. But what is unusual is only 6 of the 12 players in the insert set are Hall of Famers, which is a pretty low percentage. I mean, that's exactly half. So 50% were Hall of Famers, usually Stadium Club, Skybox, Hoops, Tops, Upper Deck, whatever. Usually they got it right and nailed the Hall of Famers at about a 75% clip, sometimes even higher. But only 6 of the 12 players featured were Hall of Famers in this insert set, which makes the set not quite as collectible as some of the other great sets from the 90s. So just kind of keep that in mind. It's pretty much guards only. Pippen's the biggest guy in there. He's, I guess, a wing, what we would call today a wing, but he was a forward back then. So 11 guards, and Pippen was a forward. Penny Hardaway was just as big as Pippen, but he was a point guard. So pretty much 11 guards and then Pippen. And here's where you got to really pay attention. So let me make sure we're on the same page. The Warp Speed cards 1 through 6 were inserted 1 in 36 Series 1 hobby/retail packs. So they were in both hobby and retail packs. They were 1 in 36, but they were only in Series 1. Jordan is card number 1 in the set. Therefore, Jordans were 1 in 216 pack odds. Somebody help me if my math is wrong, but I think that's right. Warp Speed 1 through 6 were also 1 in every 18 Series 1 jumbo packs. So easier pack odds, but remember, those packs are jumbo packs, thicker packs, more cards. In those jumbo packs, that's your best chance of catching a Jordan. It's 1 in 108 jumbo pack odds. Keeping in mind, you're probably going to pay more for a jumbo pack because there's more cards in there, and the Jordan pack odds are better in your favor. So, in fact, they're twice as good in your favor. So, that is interesting. Just to remember, you can pull the Jordan out of hobby packs, retail packs, or jumbo packs. Just make sure it's Series 1 because Warp Speed 1 through 6, the first 6 in the set are in Series 1. Warp Speed 7 through 12 are actually harder to pull. They were 1 in 48 Series 2 packs, but remember, you can't pull a Jordan. So you're only relegated to those players in the second 6, right? Nick Van Exel, Kenny Anderson, Spreewell, Grant Hill, and Jason Kidd, and Pippen. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the card itself. The card's gorgeous. There it is. It's got like a space background. It's like he's exploding in the Milky Way. It's got Warp Speed written along the left of the card. I love the fact he's wearing the red uniform with Michael Jordan in the bottom in red font, and then the Stadium Club symbol in the top left is also in red font. Just a really gorgeous card. Pretty tough to grade, which we're going to look at pretty soon. Actually, really, really tough to grade, which we'll look at soon. And then look on the back of the card. It's created by Topps Company. Stadium Club obviously was a subsidiary of Topps, or a subset of Topps Cards. This is the Warp Speed 1. There's the card number right here where my cursor is in the top left. We always read the back. It's got Jordan kind of jumbled up in little picture boxes here, but you can see like a true, more colorful space Milky Way galaxy type thing going in the background. We got the space motif going on, basically. Warp Speed, Star Trek was big, Beam Me Up Scotty, and all that stuff. So this is what the narrative says on the back. Some run as fast, others jump as high. That's just not true. Back then, nobody really jumped as high. But there is no one like Mike when it comes to reaching full throttle and instantaneous explosion. A defender is safe only when Jordan's feet are on the floor. And even then, they were not safe because he would blow by you. But that's what the back says. That's what the front looks like. I mean, is there a better picture on a card anywhere in all of the Jordan cards that exist? I mean, I've got to put this image up there with the best of the best. I know he's not elevating to dunk the ball, but remember the motif is, lateral quickness or horizontal quickness on the ground, basically. And so all of these are point guards and then Pippen, and it's all about how quickly they can get by you and get to the rim. But let's give the people what they want. You guys want to see the pop and price table, so I've got it pulled up here on your screen. If you got a camera, hold it sideways and take a picture. If not, if you're smart and intelligent and know how to operate one of these fancy computers, then go ahead and hit print screen so you can save this. Basically, I've compiled this data from Card Ladder, the PSA Pop Report, and the Beckett Pop Report, and put it in one condensed place, consolidated place where you guys can digest all the information and make some more educated decisions. Here's the pop and price table that we're looking at for the Warp Speed. The first thing that stands out to me is the gem percentage. So if you go to percentage total, that third column, you'll see for PSA 10s and BGS 9.5s, which are the two respective gem mint grades between the two biggest grading companies, you'll see a 6% gem rate and a 5% gem rate. Think about that. That is a 59 combined gems out of over 1,150 graded. That is a paltry sum. This fits that category of difficult to grade Jordan 90s inserts to a T. So keep in mind 6%, 5%, those are paltry gem percentages. The other thing you want to look at is that the PSA 10 has almost, in the last sale was 6,000, and it was last month. Actually, I think it was in July. The sale of 6,000 is almost all the way back to the highest sale we've ever seen for a PSA 10 Warp Speed. And that is not typical for a lot of cards. A lot of cards hit a massive, crazy, nutso peak, especially Jordan cards, in the bubble first quarter of 2021, and haven't even come close to getting anywhere near the numbers that they sold for during that time. But this card is one of the rare exceptions. And look, I've got it pulled up. Here's the PSA 10 chart, right? And so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Here's the PSA 10s. 13 of them have sold in the last 2 years. It came in September of 2020 at 3,000. We see this huge run up, just like I talked about. What did I say? First quarter of 2021, all hell broke loose. Warp Speed, Jordans, no exception, 5,600, and somebody, lost it and bought one for 6,300. So they're thinking, I'm about to take a bath, right? If you look in hindsight, most cards that people bought at the peak here are worth literally half or even less from what they were at the peak. Not the Warp Speed. Watch what happens. The warp speed drops and it dips 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, steady decline, and then here we go again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this huge jump on the last sale. Like I said, it was on July 11th, and it was on eBay. Somebody banged the best offer button for $6,000. The one before that was only $4,320 in March, and so I don't know. You tell me. What do you think the next one's going to sell for? This one hit 6,000. Are we going to continue this climb, or is it going to be a more steady climb? You tell me. There's only 47 of them out there in the world, and remember what we said. Look how many have been graded. 736. If you go over here to the right-hand column, what I want to draw your attention to next is that in the pop for gem condition, only one has been added since April of last year. So we're getting on to. Wait, only one has been added since, what's the deal? How far does it go back? Yeah, it goes back to April of 2021. So what is that? That's April, May, June, July, almost like 16 months. So in the last 16 months, only one gem, and there it is right there, the PSA 10, has been added, right? No BGS 9.5s, but look how many 9s. Look how many swings and misses, right? And so nobody's going to complain about getting a 9 warp speed. That's a really great result. But if you've got these visions of grandeur, you're a little bit delusional. There's only been one added, and there's been 56 swing and misses, and that's not even including the PSA 8s, BGS 8.5s, BGS 8s, PSA 7s, etc., that are being popped out by PSA over time. So Gem Rate does a good job of kind of tracking all that data, but this lets you know ain't a lot of these coming out, guys. Not a lot of these PSA 10s coming out. Interesting to note that the gems are up 39% and 20% over the last 6 months. The mints down here, the 9s for PSA and BGS, down 40% and down 18%. So drastically different trends for depending on the grade of the card. There's the BGS 9, up just like the PSA, not quite as much, but just like it. Here's the PSA 9 over the last 2 years, down, right? Down from 386 over here to 474. Sorry, that's 2 years. I'm sorry, I was talking about 6 months. I wanted to show you. Down from 760 in February all the way down here to 474. Is that a buying window? I don't know. You guys decide for yourself. But there's been 10 sales and it's been a steady decline. There's only 164 of those, and it's a really good looking card. BGS 9, let's see what that trend is over the last 6 months. Not quite as severe as the PSA, which was down 38%, but over the last 6 months, this card's down as well. And it might really only be the last sale that was kind of a dip here. And again, remember with BGS, you always got to look at the subs. And so, this one might have been quad 9s, this one or 9 plus, this one might have been 9 plus, this one might be minimum 9s, I don't know. So you always got to look at the subs. Card Ladder gives you all of that data so you can really dig deep and really kind of understand truly what's going on with these comps, because not all comps are the same, especially when you're looking at BGS cards. So that's kind of it for the pop table, guys. Hopefully that's helpful for you. It is important to note there's no BGS 10s. There's no BGS black labels. How badass would a black label look? A black label warp speed would look absolutely gorgeous and would fetch an incredible price, I believe. Black labels have such a massive multiplier. I think part of it's just, I know that kind of narrows the pop to usually 1 or 2 in the world, but it just visually, it just changes the whole look of the card when you put a black label on there with gold script and then you attach it to a shiny card like this warp speed. I mean, that would just look absolutely preposterous. We always want to look at the combined gem. If we go back to our table, the combined gem amount is 69. So it's below that 100 threshold, which is kind of the threshold where if there's 100 of them or less out there, I want to try to chase the thing in PSA 10 because that's going to give it lasting scarcity. This one meets that number. There's only 69 combined gems out there. And as we looked at this right-hand column over here, there's not a lot more being added to the pop report. So I doubt it ever gets to 100. It won't get to 100 before I'm done collecting and out of the hobby, that's for sure. So this is definitely a sub 100 combined gem card. How often does it sell on the open market? Well, I've got the table pulled up right here. Only 4 times in the last 6 months has this warp speed PSA 10 or BGS 9.5 sold on the open market. So once every 3 months, something like that. That's what you're looking at. Once a quarter, maybe, something like that. What's on eBay? I want to go buy some warp speed. When I plug in 1995 1995 Stadium Club Warp Speed Michael Jordan. Without getting any more detail, you pull up 55 results. So you're going to be able to find the card, guys, okay? It's out there. It just depends on what grade you're looking for. Here's a really cool one where they've got a bunch of different ones included. So it looks like 1 through 6, right? But these are all members only. Gold 6-card set. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what that is. More Jordan Raw. PSA 8. PSA 8. Probstein's got those up. This is a great looking picture that somebody took that makes it look like a totally different card. Another PSA 6 out there. Ooh, what happened there? Raw 7. I'm not going to bore you. If we go look for Series 1 boxes, this is what I pull up. 14 results. But remember, when you're looking at sealed wax, you got to... Not only do you have to make sure it's authentic, which is very difficult. I'm no expert. I have never buying boxes from the 90s from anybody that I don't know who personally hands it to me and vouches for the authenticity and unsearched nature of it. I just don't know enough about it to intelligently do this. But I know how to search on eBay. And when I search eBay for 1995 Stadium Club Series 1 basketball box, remember, card 1 is Jordan and 1 through 6 are only in Series 1, retail, hobby, and jumbo. When you search that, you get 14 results. So that's just something to play with. Sometimes these results come up and they're not very accurate at all. But these look pretty accurate. So it looks like Stadium Club Extreme Basketball Series 1. Yeah, so these look pretty accurate. So do your own due diligence on those. I hate for y'all to go in there and buy a box where all the cards are bricked up. And I guess that's one of the great unknowns when you buy cards from the 90s, especially cards with that kind of glossy cover. If you don't know how, they've been in a 120-degree warehouse in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, those things are going to brick up. And when you peel them apart, it's going to pull the surface off. So I just don't mess with 90s wax. It's just too doggone dangerous. I see my good friend Naz and Sam, pulling these things and breaking these things, but I just don't know how they do it confidently, not knowing whether or not there's going to be some sticking and some bricking and things like that. Okay, what do I own and what do I grade? As I talked about, I've got my 2 pulled up. I've got this PSA 10. That card is a hold, right? It's not a buy or a sell. It's a hold for Cajun Eternity. I've trademarked it. Don't steal it. And then the PSA 8, like I said, it's for sale. Just message me. Come find me. I'll sell it to you. I'm getting a lot of messages from people who are looking to buy my lower graded copies of cards that I have higher grade Jordans in. And I'd be happy to negotiate and discuss it with you. Just message me on Instagram. That's usually the best way to catch me if you don't have my cell number. All right, is the card, if we go back to the table, is the card a mid, a high, a grail, or a low-end card? This card is a mid-value card, which is $5,000 to $10,000 in PSA 10 and PSA 10 only. In BGS 9.5, PSA 9, BGS 9, this is a low-end card, meaning $5,000 or less in those particular grades. I don't anticipate that changing anytime soon. The BGS 9.5 is only a pop 22. It could push 5,000 and get into that mid-range at some point, just depending on what this market does and how many of these actually show up on the open market, right? Supply is usually what dictates whether cards make a run or not. And then this is the part of each Explore the Card episode. If you're new to this, you'll like this part. This is where we compare the card of the day, the card that we're exploring, which is the 1995 Warp Speed. We compare that card to 3 other similar cards that feature Michael Jordan in the same price range, right? And so I've got 3 cards pulled up. I've got his 1996 Maximum Metal PSA 10. I've got his 1998 Topps East West Refractor PSA 10, and I've got his 1993 Ultra Power in the Key PSA 10. And I'll be honest with you guys, like normally when we do this, I have no problem picking my 4 cards in exactly the order. It's usually not that difficult. This is miserable because I really, really think very highly of this PSA 10 Warp Speed. I really like the look of that card, but at the same time, this card right here really means a lot to me as well. I own this East-West Refractor, and for those of you who don't know, the back of the card features Kobe Bryant, right? So there's 2 refractors from the 90s that I know of. There's one is the Topps Finest, and there's this one that featured Jordan on the front, Kobe on the back, refractor both sides. I've got both those cards in BGS 10, not to beat my chest, but I love those cards. I love this card. I think this card's going to endure, and I think any card, especially refractors that feature Jordan and Kobe in gem mint condition, I think they're going to win in the long run. So as much as I love the Warp Speed, I'm taking this Topps East West, even though it's pop 84, exactly twice the pop of the PSA I think it's exactly twice the pop of the PSA 10. No, a little bit less than twice the pop. So pop 47 for Warp Speed, pop 84, the highest pop of the 4 cards that we're going to look at. But I'm taking this East-West first. It's up 150% over the last 2 years, just FYI. But it is down over the last 6 months, which is really something I think to consider. It's not a high pop card. I think that's something to look at. That's just me. So I would go that card first, this East-West Refractor. I'd go Warp Speed next, okay? And then I would go Maximum Metal, which I don't own a copy of. So Maximum Metal is one of the 5 cards that I went to the National looking for. Didn't find one. I'll be looking for this card. It's only a pop 24. So I would go Maximum Metal third, which is about a $6,000 card. And look at that run over the last 2 years. This card's up 291%, all the way from 1,500 to the last sale of 5,877. So monstrous growth on that card. And then lastly, I would go Power in the Key, which is no slouch, right? I mean, you're still talking about a mid-level Jordan insert card in PSA 10 condition, a $6,000 card, for goodness sakes, that just sold a couple days ago. This is a pop 45. There won't be any more of these added. There's your straight line showing you. I knew that was going to be a flat line. That card's up 124% over the last 2 years. So that's the order that I would take these cards. You guys let me know the order that you would take these cards in, because I am curious about that. If you share my opinion, Topps East-West, then Warp Speed, then Maximum Metal, then Power in the Key. Let me know what you guys think. Those of you who do collect Jordan and are familiar with those 4 cards. Lastly, where do I rank this Warp Speed card on the Michael Jordan scale of Cajun cardboard scale of card relevance? I always get that wrong. I rank it a 7, even though it's not the highest, most valuable, nor is it the rarest card. I mean, 42 is not a lot of PSA 10s, you know, combined, what do we say, 69 gems out there. So it's not the scarcest card in the world. It's not the most valuable card in the world, but the aesthetics of the card, I think, are absolutely exceptional. I put it, as far as aesthetically, I put it in probably the top 5 Jordan cards that I have in my collection. That's how much I think of this particular Warp Speed card. I'm not the most artistic cat out there. There's a lot of people out there that appreciate the aesthetics and the artistry and the design of cards a lot more than me, but this card means something. When you look at this card, you're going to be, you know, you're going to think to yourself, I got to put this card in my collection in some grade or another, whether it's a PSA 8 from Cajun Cardboard at a discount, or if it's a monster PSA 10 low pop card that's hard to find for $6,000. I got to get this card in my collection. When you see one of these in hand, you're going to love it. And that's why I stacked these cards, and I made a nice little flip, nice little turn on a bunch of PSA 8s and 9s out there. So I give it a 7 out of 10 on my scale, because again, it's still not easy to find. It's less than 100 combined gem. There's only 4 of them in the last 6 months combined gems sold, PSA and BGS together on the open platform. So I give it a 7 out of 10. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. As always, I do appreciate you. I don't take any of you guys for granted. I got a lot of great feedback in Atlantic City from people who really like these Explore the Card episodes. So I'm going to keep doing them. I love it. I learn something every time. Like, you know, just doing this episode, I had no idea that the second 6 cards in this 12 card Warp Speed insert set were different in appearance than the first 6. I had no clue. I did not know that because I collect Jordan. I don't collect, you know, Pippen and Jason Kidd and those guys. So I'd never seen those Warp Speed cards. So just doing these videos, I get an education every time. Hopefully you guys are getting an education and also being entertained, at least to some extent. So hopefully these videos are great for you guys. I'm going to keep doing them. I like them. You know, again, I'm 48 years old, but I learn something new in this hobby every single day. Every time I hit record on this, I learn a little bit new. And some of you guys, oftentimes in the comments, you fix mistakes that I've made or fill in gaps for errors that I've made, which I wasn't sure about. So I do appreciate the comments. So many kind messages that I've been getting. The channel's growing a little bit. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I'm not advertising on this channel, right? I'm not clicking that monetization deal yet. So you guys should not be getting any ads on any of my videos. I'm going to try to keep this thing as pristine and lean and clean as I can. I make my money in other ways. I'm a real estate attorney. I'm a professional. So that's how I feed my kids and I educate my kids and I buy my cards. I don't make my money necessarily, you know, from creating content. That's not why I got in this in the first place. So I'm going to leave these things lean and clean for the foreseeable future. And that's pretty much my thoughts on the matter. So hopefully you guys appreciate that as well. And keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby, and peace.